Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. One of the things that stressed me out more than anything else when I had my first baby and even my second baby was routine. Did I have a routine? How did I get a routine? When should I start my routine? Is my baby in the right routine? I remember spending hours reading books, searching online. YouTube wasn't so much of a thing back then, so I unfortunately didn't have that to turn to, but I remember doing a lot of research about routines and just feeling quite daunted and overwhelmed by the whole thing. I'm naturally quite a relaxed person when it comes to routine. I'm not somebody that likes a really strict schedule for myself or for my kids. It just doesn't work for me, but I can definitely see the benefits of some sort of routine for your baby in particular. So I thought I would sit down and talk to you about Marnie's current routine at the age of 6 months old. Up until now, to be honest, she hasn't had much of a routine. I, with all 4 of my babies, have been quite led by them in the early months. I feel like when they're tiny, their sleep and eating patterns change so frequently that you could set yourself up a routine, but chances are by the following week it'll be out the window because they'll be going through a growth spurt or a sleep progression, or they'll be just generally unsettled and need to feed more frequently, or I find you can't predict their behaviour up until the age of about 6 months. At least I felt that I couldn't, so I would rather have just been quite laid back about it and let them fall into their own routine. I'm also a big believer in letting babies find their own natural sleep pattern, because I think that they do, and they certainly have in our case. All 4 of our babies have ended up being, not started out being, but ended up being very good sleepers. And I think it's because we've just kind of gone with the flow a little bit, and that's not for everyone. That can be quite frustrating and quite tough going, especially when you get to Marnie's age and you start to think, hang on, she's 6 months old now and she's still not sleeping through the night, and she isn't. But then because she's so little, I don't know if that's down to teeth, because she's definitely teething. I don't know what it is that's waking her up in the middle of the night. It could be that she's upset rather than that she's not in a good enough routine. I'm waffling, but what I'm trying to get at is that I try to be flexible. Yes, we do have a routine, and yes, I try to stick to it as much as I can for her benefit, because I think babies enjoy a routine, but we're flexible at the same time. So if you're interested to see the kind of routine that we have in place at the moment with Marnie at 6 months old, then do stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, I'd love you to subscribe. I'm a mum of 4. Marnie is my youngest, she's 6 months old. I have an 11-year-old boy, a 10-year-old girl, and a 4-year-old little boy as well. I make videos all about everything to do with motherhood and lifestyle and just general parent life. So do stick around, I'd love to have you. So Marnie's current routine, as I said, is quite relaxed, but it tends to go a little bit like this. She will wake up in the morning somewhere around 6:30, 7 o'clock. If we've had a rough night, obviously it'll be a little bit later. I'll just let her sleep. I never wake her up. The first thing I do when she wakes is give her a feed. I'm breastfeeding her still. We are starting to wean her, but she's not massively fussed at the moment. We're only a couple of weeks in. I recently made a weaning video actually, which I'll link for you at the top if you're interested in watching that. She only feeds for about 5-10 minutes. She's always been a very quick feeder. Literally, I'd say 10 minutes is the longest she's ever fed for since she was tiny, since she was born. So that doesn't take very long at all. Then I will change her nappy and we'll head downstairs to meet up with the rest of the family, who are all by this point downstairs eating their breakfast. Because I've fed Marnie in bed before coming downstairs, she doesn't need her breakfast straight away, so we just get on with the general before school chaos, and she's really happy to just sit in her chair. I don't put her with any of her toys at this point because she's just entertained by her brothers and sister. They always have the TV on, so she tends to sort of half watch that and just watches them, to be honest. There's always so much going on with 6 of us in the kitchen in the morning that she's more than happy to just sit and watch us. When she starts to get a bit fussy and fed up of sitting in her high chair, I will take her out and carry her around the house with me, doing whatever it is that I'm doing. If I'm doing Merrin's hair or Aiden's teeth or collecting bits and pieces that they need for school, I will just carry her around and she comes with me. My husband usually takes the kids to school on his way to work, so by 9 o'clock when everyone has left for the day, I will sit down. If I'm hungry at that point, I'll have my breakfast, but I will always give Marnie her breakfast at around 9 AM. She's not massively hungry at this point, but she will always eat something if I offer it to her. And I've actually got a video coming up on Sunday of 5 early weaning breakfast ideas for babies, which is a collaboration with a friend of mine. So do subscribe so you don't miss that. That's coming on Sunday. Once we've had our breakfast, Marnie is usually getting quite tired. So I would say by 9:30, 9:45, she'll be ready for her first nap of the day. So at that point, I will take her upstairs, change her nappy again if it needs it, and then put her down for a nap. The morning nap is usually Marnie's best nap of the day, and that hasn't been the case with any of my other babies, but for some reason she likes to have her longer stretch of sleep in the morning. So some mornings this could be an hour, some mornings up to 2.5 hours. It depends how the night before has gone. So she may well sleep from 9:30 to 12 o'clock even on a good day. Otherwise, she'll sleep till about 11 o'clock. And this is my time to get on with things, so I will usually do my morning cleaning routine, which was my last video, and again I will link that for you so you can check that out. I just potter around the house, picking things up, tidying up, making beds, hoovering, dishwasher, that kind of stuff. If I've got any editing or filming to do that doesn't involve Marnie, I will try and do that in this nap time as well. It's amazing how much you can fit into an hour and a half or 2 hours when you need to, so that is when I will really crack on and get things ticked off my to-do list. When Marnie wakes up from that nap, as I said, it could be anything from between 11 AM to 12 PM. We will have some playtime, and that's what we're doing right now. She's just woken up from her morning nap. So we will sit on the floor, usually in my daughter Merrin and Aiden's room, because there's a nice big rug on the floor. Do you want to come back up? Oh. So we will usually sit in here on the floor on the rug with some of her toys, usually her set of eggs in the plastic box which she loves to play with, or we will sing some songs. We've just started getting more interested in books, so I will show her some of her books and things. So we will just have a play for about half an hour to an hour, depending on how hungry she is. If I feel like she's ready for some food, I will take her downstairs quicker, obviously, but otherwise we'll just stay here till she gets fed up of me. Till you get bored of your mummy, won't we? It's only the last couple of days actually that I've started giving her solids at lunchtime as well. I was just giving her them in the morning and in the evening with the kids when they're around the table, but I've started trying her at lunchtime just to see what time of the day she seems to be most hungry. I don't know, I'm never sure when you should go from 2 solid feeds to 3, so we're just gonna kind of play it by ear. And then in the afternoon, I like to try and get out and about if I can, depending on the weather. This afternoon it's looking quite nice, so we're gonna head out for a nice long walk along the seafront, and I'm hoping that somebody will have another nap this afternoon. Now the afternoon nap is very hit and miss with Marnie. Aiden was a dream for naps. He would always have a really long nap in the afternoon, usually between about 12:30 and 3:30, and I could transfer him from car seat to the house, from car seat to pram, from pram to car seat, and he just didn't wake up. He was amazing. He was my best napper by far. Marnie is not like that at all. She will wake up, she's the lightest sleeper, she will wake up at anything, and she's so nosy that she'll wake up and just be like, oh, what's going on, where are we now? And that's it, then you can't get her back to sleep. So with a bit of luck, if we go out for a nice long walk this afternoon, she might go back to sleep and stay that way for an hour. I find with Marnie that the more sleep she has, that sounds really stupid, I know what I mean in my head. The more sleep she's getting more regularly, the better the quality of sleep, and the more she will nap and the longer stretches she will have. So at the moment, touch wood, we're going through a good sleep phase. It won't last, I'm no fool. I know I've got about a week of this good sleep to go, and then it'll probably all go horribly wrong again. But at the moment, she's having a good sleep patch. So yes, afternoon nap time is a bit hit and miss, but if we're out and about, she'll sleep for longer. It's unlikely that she'll have another good nap at home. And then we head out the door to go and get the kids. It's not very far from our house to the school, so it's a nice little stroll. Then once we get home from school, she has her most favourite entertainment and toys back around her, and that is her siblings. She's never more entertained and happy than when they're around, although sometimes it can be a bit overstimulating. I'm finding that a lot more now that she's getting a bit older. They're all so keen to see her when they come home from school that there are faces and hands and people everywhere, and they all want to cuddle her, they all want to say hello, they all want to make her laugh, they all want to play with her. And if she's not had a great afternoon nap, this is where it can all go horribly wrong. As with most mums probably, this is my busiest time of the day, so I've got loads to do. I have lunch boxes to unpack, book bags to unpack, homework to coordinate, kids to referee, dinner to prepare, just stuff going on all around me. It's bananas. It's so noisy in our house between about 4 and 5, half 5. The kids come home from school absolutely ravenous. I try and feed them around 4:45, 5 o'clock. I don't like to feed them much earlier than that because I find that they get really hungry before bed then, and they're all asking for snacks at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I try and hold out until 4:45, 5 o'clock, and I will feed Marnie at the same time. So this is when she has her tea. I will do another video separate to the one that's going live on Sunday about things that I typically give Marnie for dinner, for meals at her stage of weaning. So do keep an eye out for that. But again, she's not eating massive amounts. She's still eating quite small portions, but she is quite enjoying some of the things that she's been having for dinner at the moment. The kids all eat together. My husband isn't home from work yet at this point, so unfortunately we don't eat as a family in the week. We save that for the weekends. And then again, depending on the afternoon nap situation, she could potentially be quite grumpy and need distracting at this point in the day. She's eaten her tea, and really speaking, if she hasn't had a good nap, she could quite happily just crash for the rest of the evening. But I have to try and keep her awake because obviously if she goes to sleep at 5:30, 6 o'clock, that's a little bit early. So it's on these days that I will bath her. I tend to try and bath her every other night. Her skin does get quite dry, I've noticed, if I bath her every single night. And up until recently, she hasn't needed a bath every night anyway, so every other night has been fine. Now that she's weaning, I am starting to bath her more frequently. Like if she's covered in sweet potato from head to toe, obviously I'm going to bath her even if she'd had a bath the night before. She loves bath time though, so I don't know. I'm cautious of looking after her skin, but it's probably one of her favourite things. She's never once cried going in the bath. She absolutely loves it. She still fits into her snuggle bathtub. It's a bit snug now. It's a bit small, and she could probably do with moving into a bath support in the main bath, but she loves it so much I haven't got the heart to not put her in it anymore. So until she is literally like spilling out the sides, I think we'll keep using it. She would stay in that little bathtub for half an hour or longer if I let her, but it does get quite cold quite quickly because there's not a lot of water in there. So I'll leave her in there for as long as I can until it starts to get a bit chilly, and then I'll get her out, and I'll always give her a baby massage, either with coconut oil or with the Child's Farm baby moisturiser, which I found brilliant for her skin. She's starting to be really interested in books now, so if I'm reading to the others, I will read one of her little books first and let her look at it and play with the pages, and then read them a quick story, or my husband will read Aiden a story while the others read their own books, because they're obviously 10 and 11, so they read to themselves. And then I will get Marnie into our bedroom and start to settle her for sleep. I will breastfeed Marnie at the end of the day to get her off to sleep. I try to put her down when she's still half awake, so she's sleepy but not asleep. And this can be really touch and go. Some nights she will transfer amazingly, and I will put her in her snooze pod next to our bed and she just stays asleep and she'll sleep there for hours. Other nights the action of me putting her down is enough to wake her up, and then she's wide awake, and then she's overtired and grumpy, and it is a nightmare to get her back to sleep. As I mentioned earlier in the video, she's still not sleeping through. Some nights she will sleep from 7:30 until midnight, and then I'll give her another feed and she'll go through until the morning. Other nights she will sleep in her snooze pod from 7:30 until about 4:30. They're the good nights, that's the best it gets. She hasn't yet slept through. I think she's maybe once since she's been born. When she does wake in the night though, it's really quick to settle her back. I just either breastfeed her, or she's quite into her dummy at the moment, so I just pop that back in and she just goes straight back to sleep. There's no fuss. And it's very, very rare that I'm awake with her for any length of time in the middle of the night. And that's it. That's our daily routine with Marnie at the age of 6 months. I do hope you found this interesting. I know I would have found this interesting when I had my first, second, third, fourth even babies. I just think I find it really interesting to see how other people do it and what works for them. Everybody's different, every baby is different, so I'm not saying that what works for us will work for you, but hopefully it's just interesting just to see how it works in our family. I'd love to know any of your tips and tricks for setting up a routine with your baby. Are you a fan of routines, or do you prefer to just go with the flow? Do let me know in the comments below, and perhaps we can all have a bit of a chat about what works for our babies and our families. Thank you so much for watching. Do give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Share it with your friends if you think it would be of interest to them. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That's such a mouthful. Whew. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.